There are moments when time does not simply pass, it pulses. It whispers through the stillness and carries with it a vibration meant for those who are listening, not just with the ears, but with the soul. July 10th and 11th are not simply calendar dates. They are not just points between one event and the next. They are awakenings, doorways through which unseen energy flows. Not everyone will notice this shift, and fewer still will act upon it. But those who do will feel something stir within them, an urgency not of fear, but of deep remembrance. These are the days when the world does not speak through noise, but through alignment. And if you are too distracted, too caught up in what is temporary, you will miss what is eternal. You see, most people live life asleep. Their eyes are open, but their awareness is closed. They repeat routines like rituals, wake up the same way, think the same thoughts, feel the same emotions, and then wonder why nothing changes. They wait for big signs, external confirmation, or miraculous events to tell them it is time to shift. But the universe does not always work that way. Sometimes it sends a quiet current, a wave that can only be felt by the still-hearted. July 10th and 11th are such waves. If you do not feel the pull to change, it's not because the energy is missing, it is because your attention is elsewhere. The Shaolin path teaches us that stillness is not passive. Stillness is a form of high discipline. To be still is to notice what others miss. It is to sense the shifting of the inner and outer world, to feel what most people ignore. When an energetic doorway opens, such as the one presented on July 10th and 11th, your spirit knows before your mind does. You may feel unsettled, you may experience discomfort, pressure, or restlessness. But this is not to be feared. It is the call to awaken. It is the soul saying, "Get ready. A new vibration is arriving." What most people call discomfort is often just a sign that they are being stretched into new awareness. You do not need to understand the change intellectually to walk through it spiritually. And yet, many will turn away. They will distract themselves with noise, with entertainment, with tasks that keep them numb. They will miss the gate, the moment where alignment could have shifted everything. Why? Because awareness demands effort. It is easy to stay asleep when the world rewards numbness. But the price of that sleep is high. You miss the signal. You miss the transformation. You miss the moment that was meant to pivot your life in a higher direction. Emergencies in the physical world require immediate response, a fire, an injury, a flood. But spiritual emergencies are more subtle. They do not scream, they hum, they create tension in the chest, heaviness in the spirit, a feeling that something is off, that something unseen is calling for your attention. These are not accidents. These are signs. They are sacred messages wrapped in sensation, and you are the interpreter. July 10th and 11th may not bring chaos outside, but they may bring a storm within. That storm is not your enemy, it is your teacher. It arrives to remove the layers of sleep, of delay, of illusion. What does it mean to sleep through an energetic shift? It means you carry on as usual. You ignore the pull to meditate longer. You silence the urge to reflect. You distract yourself from the discomfort. You say, "I'll deal with it later," and later never comes. But the universe is patient. It does not punish, but it does persist. If you do not listen the gentle way, it will speak louder. That is the nature of spiritual evolution. It starts with a whisper and ends with a roar if ignored. You do not need to fear these days. You need to prepare for them. You prepare not by hoarding, not by reacting, but by returning to breath, to presence, to intention. Your preparation is inner. It is in the way you choose to sit with your thoughts rather than run from them. It is in the way you observe your own resistance and ask, "What am I so afraid of?" Because when energy shifts, it reveals everything. The habits that are no longer useful, the beliefs that no longer serve, the attachments that weigh you down. These are exposed not as punishment, but as invitation. The emergency alert is not chaos. It is clarity. It is the moment you are asked, are you willing to become who you were meant to be, or will you continue playing small? The reason these dates matter is not because something is going to happen to you, it is because something wants to happen through you. The world is changing rapidly, the energetic climate is shifting, and those who are sensitive can feel it. They may not be able to name it, but they sense that time feels different. Choices feel heavier, consequences feel faster. This is not your imagination, it is your intuition. When your soul is alert, time bends. You begin to realize that moments hold the power of decades. A single decision, when made in alignment, can unravel years of stagnation. But you must be awake to make that decision. That is why you cannot sleep through this shift. This is a sacred reminder. Your awareness is the highest currency. Your attention is your power. Where you place it determines what you manifest. On these days, do not give your attention to fear. Do not fall into panic. That is not the way. The way is silence. The way is reflection. The way is stillness that listens and presence that responds. The Shaolin teachings say, the body must be still so the mind can move clearly. The mind must be still so the spirit can speak freely. If you rush through these days without pause, you will hear only the noise of the world. But if you pause, even for a few moments, you will hear the signal, the guidance, the shift. There are those who will feel this message in their bones, not because of logic, but because of memory, a spiritual memory, a remembrance of why they came here in the first place. They came not to be passive observers of the world, but active participants in its awakening. These souls cannot afford to sleep through the call. July 10th and 11th are not random. They are rhythmic. They are part of a larger orchestration, a symphony of transformation that requires every awakened soul to play their note. You must begin by quieting the outer world. Do not fill these days with unnecessary noise. Let go of distractions. Reduce consumption of media that brings anxiety. Protect your energy as you would protect sacred fire. Sit in meditation, even if only for a few minutes. Speak to your inner self. Listen to what arises. Do not judge it. Just witness. Awareness is not about controlling the outcome. It is about understanding the origin. When you are present, you allow life to speak through you. That is what these days demand. Presence, courage, clarity. Many people ask, what should I do on these dates? And the answer is awaken. Whatever awakens you, do that. Whatever reconnects you with your breath, your purpose, your stillness, go there. Walk in nature. Reflect on your journey. Clean your space. Release the old. Forgive where you need to. Commit where you've hesitated. Say no where you have said yes out of fear. Say yes where your heart has longed to say yes, but your mind said no. That is how you honor the shift. July 10th and 11th are not to be feared. They are to be met with reverence. But reverence does not mean hesitation. It means alertness. It means standing tall in the face of uncertainty. It means becoming the calm in the center of change. You are not here to panic. You are here to awaken. And once you awaken, you will see that the real emergency was not the world. It was your own sleep. You have been called, not by me, but by your own higher self. The part of you that remembers the path even when the mind forgets. You may not have all the answers, but you do not need all of them to begin. All you need is willingness. A single moment of deep presence can realign you with your destiny. That moment can be now. That moment can be today. The shift is not coming. The shift is here, and it is waiting for your participation. So when the sun rises on July 10th and 11th, do not treat it as another ordinary day. Wake up with awareness. Move with intention. Live as if you are being guided because you are. The signs will be subtle, the whispers gentle. But if you listen, truly listen, you will hear the message that was always meant for you. It is time, not tomorrow, not next year, now. And once you hear that, once you feel that, you will understand that the emergency alert was never meant to cause fear. It was meant to cause remembering. It was meant to cause movement. It was meant to cause you to rise. There is a great misunderstanding in the world. When people hear the word emergency, their eyes turn outward. They search for signs in the sky, warnings on their screens, alerts from the news, whispers of doom or declarations of change. But rarely do they look in the one place that holds the truth, within. The true emergency of our time is not a broken system, not a crumbling economy, not a political shift or environmental chaos. These are surface-level symptoms. The true emergency is the unrest within the human mind. It is the noise that never ends, the fear that never sleeps, the doubt that never leaves. And until this inner emergency is resolved, no outer peace can ever last. When the Shaolin monks speak of mastering the mind, they do not refer to control in the aggressive sense. They speak of understanding, of seeing clearly what is without running from it. The untrained mind is chaotic, like a wild horse, always moving, always reacting, never resting. It seeks stimulation because stillness feels unbearable. It repeats patterns because change feels dangerous. And it avoids silence because in silence it would have to face itself. This is the emergency, not the world. The world reflects the mind of its people. And if the collective mind is restless, afraid, distracted and angry, then the world cannot help but mirror that energy. On July 10th and 11th, an energetic threshold will be crossed. But this threshold is not only for the world outside, it is for the landscape within. The question is not what will happen on these days. The question is what is already happening inside you that you've been ignoring. What fire is burning that you've covered with a smile? What wound is still open that you pretend has healed? What truth is knocking on your spirit's door while you keep the curtains closed? These are the real questions. Because the emergency you fear out there is just a projection of what you have not healed in here. You see, it is easy to talk about awakening. It is inspiring to speak of transformation. But when awakening begins, it does not arrive with comfort. It arrives with confrontation. It does not give you peace without first showing you the war within. And most people run from that. They want the light without walking through the dark. But that is not the way. The way requires that you sit with your own noise, your own fear, your own resistance, and observe it without judgment. It requires that you stop pretending you are fine when your soul is screaming for change. It requires that you admit the truth, that the emergency is not new, it has been building for years, silently beneath your daily distractions. The Shaolin path teaches that the inner world is primary. External circumstances can only shake you if the inner ground is weak. And so, when a spiritual alert is sounded, it is not a call to fear, it is a call to presence. It is not asking you to prepare for disaster, it is asking you to return to discipline. And discipline in this context does not mean control over others. It means commitment to truth. The truth of who you are, the truth of what you feel, the truth of what you've become, and whether or not that aligns with who you were meant to be. The days of July 10th and 11th will reveal to many people that their inner house is not in order. And this revelation is not cruel, it is compassionate. For how can you rebuild until you realize the foundation is cracked? How can you rise until you see what's been weighing you down? The inner emergency is not a crisis, it is a cleansing. It is the universe's way of turning the lights on in the room you've been avoiding. You may be startled by what you see, but you will also finally be free to change it. Consider this. How many thoughts pass through your mind each day that are not rooted in truth? Thoughts of lack, thoughts of comparison, thoughts of fear, of judgment, of failure. These thoughts do not arise from your higher self. They arise from the mind conditioned by fear. And every time you accept those thoughts as real, you strengthen the inner emergency. You validate the voice of illusion. You abandon your inner peace in favor of external approval. And over time, this creates an identity, a version of you that reacts, that panics, that doubts, that hides. But that is not who you are. That is who you have become through repetition. And July 10th and 11th offer a doorway out, but the doorway is narrow. Not everyone will walk through. It requires courage, not the courage to fight others, but the courage to meet yourself without running, the courage to sit in stillness long enough to feel the discomfort you've buried, the courage to ask hard questions and to hear honest answers. That is the highest form of bravery, to face the self. And this is the emergency. Most people avoid this for an entire lifetime. They chase success, they chase comfort, they chase recognition, but they never sit with their own shadow. They run from it, and in running they exhaust themselves. They build lives that look good but feel hollow. They smile while slowly withering inside. But no more. These dates, July 10th and 11th, arrive as a spiritual checkpoint, a moment where you are gently asked, are you ready to return to truth, or will you keep running until life forces you to stop? The Shaolin master teaches, when the mind becomes quiet, the world becomes clear. And this clarity is what you are being invited into. The emergency inside is caused by noise. Noise from unprocessed emotion. Noise from unconscious beliefs. Noise from past wounds that were never healed, only buried. But healing does not happen by accident. It happens by attention. You must pay attention to what hurts, to what repeats, to what limits you. You must observe your inner reactions, your defensiveness, your fears, and trace them to their root. Only then can you dissolve them. Only then can you choose differently. You are not being asked to fix everything in one day. You are not being asked to become a master overnight. You are being asked to wake up, to become aware, to realize that the life you are living may be built on a structure of mental habits that no longer serve your highest potential. And in that awareness, you have a choice: continue or begin again. Most people continue because beginning again feels like failure. But in truth, beginning again is the greatest strength. It means you are alive. It means you are learning. It means you are humble enough to change. July 10th and 11th are not magic days. They are mirrors. They will show you what you've become. They will amplify your state of mind. If you are aligned, you will feel a deeper clarity. If you are out of alignment, you will feel pressure, confusion, resistance. Do not judge this, just notice. This is your chance to course correct. This is your moment to stop outsourcing responsibility and reclaim your power. Not power over others, but power over your own mind. Power to choose your response. Power to step back from reactivity and step into presence. This is the internal revolution. It does not require noise. It does not require followers. It does not require permission. It requires stillness, honesty, and consistent practice. If you can sit with yourself in silence for even 10 minutes a day, you are already healing. If you can observe a limiting thought and not believe it, you are already waking up. If you can feel fear and act with integrity anyway, you are already walking the path. Do not wait for the world to change to find peace. Create peace, and you will change your world. That is the secret, that is the code, and that is why the true emergency is internal. Because once your mind is calm, once your thoughts are clear, once your spirit is centered, no outer event can shake you. You will become the eye of the storm. You will become the calm in the chaos. You will become the one who does not panic when others do, who does not react when others provoke, who does not collapse when pressure arrives. Not because you are special, but because you are awake. Let these days be a sacred turning point, a reset of your inner world. Ask yourself, what am I carrying that I no longer need? What stories have I outgrown? What pain have I refused to feel? What power have I forgotten? And as the answers come, write them down, sit with them, honor them. This is your inner training. This is your practice. The emergency is not meant to destroy, it is meant to awaken. But only if you listen. Only if you are willing to feel. Only if you choose the path of presence over the path of avoidance. So when the sun rises on July 10th and 11th, remember, the most important place to look is not the news, not the stars, not the sky. The most important place to look is within. What you find there will determine what these days mean for you. For some, they will be another pair of forgettable dates. For others, they will be a sacred turning point, a silent revolution, a homecoming. The difference is not in the day, it is in the awareness you bring to it. Now, breathe deeply, return to your center, and prepare not with fear, but with presence. The emergency was never outside, it was always the mind. And now, you are ready to wake up. There is a silence beneath every sound. Beneath the alarms, beneath the sirens, beneath the chaotic voices of the world, there exists a silence that is not empty, it is full. It is not passive, it is watching. It does not shout, but it calls. And it calls all those who are willing to listen beyond their fear, beyond their desires, beyond the compulsive thinking that governs so many lives. On days like July 10th and 11th, when the collective energy rises, when the air feels charged, when timelines shift and emotions intensify, the world will point outward. But again, as always, the true work is inward. The true shift is not in what happens, but in how you respond. And your response is a reflection of your alignment. Your alignment is the indicator. It is your compass. It tells you whether you are rooted or reactive, present or distracted, flowing or resisting. To live in alignment is not to have a perfect life. It is not to be free from challenge. It is to face every moment as it is, not as you wish it were. Alignment is the practice of returning to truth, again and again, even when it is uncomfortable, especially when it is uncomfortable. It is the ability to remain unmoved in a world that is constantly shaking. And this steadiness is not born from external strength, but from internal stillness. This is what the old masters have always known, that peace is not a place, but a presence, a state of being, and it is cultivated not in moments of calm, but in the storm itself. You must understand that what will rise on July 10th and 11th is not simply global energy. It is a magnification of your inner state. These days will press on your spirit like fingers pressing into the soil, testing the roots. And if you are grounded, you will not be shaken. If you are centered, you will not be pulled. But if you are out of alignment, if your life is built on avoidance, on denial, on illusions, then this pressure will expose every weak foundation. It will shake every lie you've told yourself. It will mirror back every forgotten truth. And this, though uncomfortable, is grace. Because only when you see what is false can you return to what is real. So what does it mean to live in alignment? It means to act in accordance with your inner wisdom, even when the world tempts you to abandon it. It means to choose discipline over distraction, stillness over stimulation, integrity over approval. It means to walk a path that is quiet, often lonely, but deeply fulfilling. And it means to face yourself honestly, especially when it is difficult. Because alignment is not a fixed state, it is a living relationship. It is the ongoing process of remembering who you are beneath the noise and choosing to live from that remembrance. But most people have forgotten. They have become actors in their own story. They wear masks so often they forget they are wearing them. They say what they are supposed to say. They do what they are expected to do. And inside, they are quietly dying. Their spirit is suffocating under layers of false identity. They are busy, but not present. Successful, but not fulfilled. Surrounded, but not connected. And they wonder why anxiety follows them, why peace eludes them, why something always feels missing. What is missing is alignment. What is missing is the courage to live from the truth, not the image. These 2 days, July 10th and 11th, do not create anything new. They reveal what already exists. They bring to light what has been hidden. They intensify the energy that has been silently building. And they ask one simple question. Are you living in alignment with your soul or in reaction to the world? And this question, if you are honest, can change everything. Because when you begin to choose alignment, your entire life shifts. You begin to see clearly what drains you, what feeds you, what is real, and what is noise. You begin to walk away from situations that dishonor your peace. You stop chasing what was never meant for you. You start trusting your intuition more than the opinions of others. And slowly, your life begins to mirror your inner truth. But there is a price. And this is where many turn away. Alignment requires sacrifice. Not of your joy, but of your attachments. You must be willing to release the identities that no longer serve you. You must let go of relationships that pull you away from your path. You must leave behind the habits that numb your soul. This is not easy. It requires discipline. It requires solitude. It requires discomfort. But it is the only way to return to your essence. The only way to build a life that is true, not just impressive. Many will feel emotional during these days. This is not weakness, it is awakening. The emotions that arise are not random. They are signals. They are guides. When sadness appears, ask what part of you has been denied. When anger rises, ask what boundary has been crossed. When anxiety pulses, ask what truth you are avoiding. These are not enemies to conquer. They are messages to receive. And in receiving them, you begin the process of realignment. The Shaolin tradition speaks of inner harmony as the highest power. Not the ability to defeat others, but the ability to live without betraying oneself. This is the path. And it is simple, but not easy. Because in a world that rewards image, truth is rebellion. In a world that worships speed, stillness is power. In a world addicted to noise, silence is sacred. And those who choose to walk this path will often walk alone, but they will walk in peace. Ask yourself now, where in your life are you out of alignment? Where are you saying yes when your heart says no? Where are you pretending to be someone you are not? Where are you betraying your inner voice for the comfort of the crowd? These are the doors. And the moment you begin to ask these questions, you begin to open them. The light that enters may be blinding at first, but it is not harmful. It is healing. It is the light of your own truth finally returning. You must remember that you are not here to live someone else's script. You are not here to perform for the world. You are here to awaken, to remember, to express the deepest frequency of your soul through every word, every action, every breath. And when you do this, the world responds. Opportunities align, people shift, miracles unfold. Not because you forced them, but because you became a match for them. You become starving because you became a match for them. This is the emergency hidden inside the emergency. That people are not living their truth. That they are sleepwalking through sacred days. That they are forgetting the miracle of their own breath, the power of their own presence. July 10th and 11th are not just dates, they are wake-up calls. Invitations to realign, to slow down, to reflect, to reset, and not for the world, but for yourself. Do not ask what these days will bring. Ask what they will reveal. Because what is revealed is what must be healed. What is exposed is what must be addressed. What is illuminated is what you've been ready to face, even if you've been afraid. And in facing it, you return to the path. Not the path given to you by others, but the one written in your soul. When the storms rise, the tree that survives is the one with deep roots. These roots are not visible to the world, but they are what keep it standing. Your roots are your practices, your intentions, your stillness, your honesty, your courage to choose alignment again and again, even when it costs you comfort, especially when it costs you comfort, because comfort is not peace. Numbness is not clarity. Avoidance is not freedom. You cannot escape the work. The only way out is through. So take these days not as warnings, but as gifts. Sacred checkpoints on your journey. Step away from noise. Listen to your body. Honor your intuition. Ask hard questions. Welcome honest answers. Cry if you must. Rest if you need. But do not sleepwalk. Do not numb yourself again. Do not betray your spirit one more day, because there is a life waiting for you on the other side of this alignment. A life not built on performance, but on presence. Not on fear, but on flow. Not on should, but on soul. But that life can only be accessed through truth. And truth cannot be faked. It must be felt. It must be lived. And it begins with a single powerful decision: to align, to remember, to return. July 10th and 11th are not endings. They are beginnings. But they require your participation. They ask you to show up, not as the version of you the world likes, but as the version of you your soul longs to express. This is the path of alignment. This is the call of awakening. And now, in this moment, the choice is yours.